Good evening, everybody. Here we are with day one. My name is James Hesling. I am your coach. I am the food gut coach, your evidence-based health and performance nutritionist, personal trainer, and behavior change specialist. And tonight is day one of the challenge. And tonight we're going into purpose. So I'm going to refresh my screen here because I've got on my notes that I want to make sure that we cover through tonight. And I also just want to make sure that you can actually hear me. So if you are joining in live, please do let me know. Let me know that you can hear me. Drop a drop a hello, tell me where you're from in the comments. Let me know that you're live. I do want this to be as immersive as possible. So Kim, hi, I can see in the comments here. Thank you so much, Kim, for joining in live. Keep the comments coming in, team, just so I know everyone's with me. Katie, thank you. Megan, thank you. And hopefully everybody can also hear me. Good. I've got a really itchy nose to start with. There we go. The nerves are coming out already. Kath, Kat, excellent. Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. So tonight we have a really, really great topic: purpose, mindset, and motivation. And honestly, all I can say is a huge thank you and well done for all of the comments on this morning. Everybody that has commented and everybody that's kind of like, you know, looking in behind the scenes, great work. Because I guarantee it, you will get out as much as possible from this week and from every single evening, the more you put into it. It's just how it works. People who dip a toe in versus those who make a big splash by going all in don't do as well, especially absorbing the information and then taking action on it, as those who make the big splash in the group, in this community. So I would definitely suggest going all in. And amazing. Sian, welcome to day one, Nottinghamshire, excellent. Kerry, Newcastle, Katie from Doncaster, Lisa, Gemma, excellent, amazing everybody. Victoria from Devon, lovely, but it's lovely down there. Tracy, Amanda, Rosemary, amazing. So, what I really want to go through tonight is a lot of information, a lot of detail. So perhaps if you haven't already, grab something to jot notes on, get your laptop, get your iPad, get a phone, whatever it is, to make notes. Because honestly, what we're gonna go through tonight and what my aim, what my mission is every single night is, one is to over-deliver, beat your expectations in not just communication, but also in the tools that will move you forward, okay? So all I want from you is your attention. So if you can, mute the screens, elsewhere, give this the attention that your health absolutely deserves. And if anything resonates with you, because I've got the comments up here on my laptop by the side of my phone that I'm streaming live on, if you've got any questions, just pop it in the chat. Don't wait till the end. Keep it front of mind. Let's act on it. Because this is a big thing that is going to help transform your relationship with food, your mindset, your confidence, fat loss, everything. It's about speed of implementation, okay? So first and foremost, I want to just set the scene, because we often have this saying, knowledge is power, right? If I've got the knowledge, I know what to do. And I know from reading a few comments, and probably a lot of us, generally speaking, might know what to do. But I want to flip this back to you and say, well, if you knew what to do, you would have done it. So you might know what looks good on paper, but the practical standpoint of that in your life, we don't know how to do it. So by default, we don't know. So I also want you to come to these talks, because my goal is that every single talk that we go through each night, if you implement it on its own, changes your life anyway. And this talk's going to approximately be about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, depending on how many questions and how deep I go into it. I've got a lot of stuff that I want to really get out for you guys. Everything that I'm condensing into these 5 nights is probably a year's worth of coaching. So we're kind of like going real top level stuff here, and obviously then we could go much deeper, but I only have your attention for 5 days, and that's if you're with me throughout the whole of this. So like I said, every night my goal is that each talk will be life-changing if you implement it. And as I mentioned, knowledge action is the most important thing, okay? Knowledge isn't just knowing what to do, actually learning is implementing it, okay? So we want to increase the speed of say to do ratio. So if there's anything that really resonates with you tonight, write it down, make a note. We want to implement it straight away, whether that's tonight, tomorrow, whatever it might be, because that's how we're going to change past beliefs. We're going to change our behaviors, our thought process. We're going to change all of these things that have taken us like a little bit forward and then we've gone back. So we want to change this stuck mentality, okay? So, like I said, be open, run towards, don't just say, I know all this. Because the moment we say I know, we simply become uncoachable, okay? Really recognize that. So, in the comments this morning from the challenge video, thank you so much, there has been so much self-awareness around why, so what your why is, and so much self-awareness about what holds you back. Now, there's also one thing that I now want to just touch on as a bit of a frame as well, because a lot of the time we can think of prioritizing yourself. We can think of putting your health first for a change as selfish, right? Well, if I just want to focus on, going for a walk or me actually making sure I've had a meal, oh, that's just too selfish. I couldn't do that. I've got other people to look after. But actually, just like my definition of learning is different, it's not about what you know, it's about what you implement. Actually, my definition of selfishness is not improving your health. Because who here, and put a me in the chat, okay? Put a me in the chat if you think a healthier you, a happier you, a version of you where you can manage your emotional responses better, a version of you where you are physically healthier, who thinks that version of you would benefit your loved ones, your family, your kids, your grandkids, your parents, your partners, your colleagues? Who thinks that it would improve their life if you were a healthier you? Just pop a me in the comments. Shan, me, exclamation marks, 100%. Victoria, me. I certainly think so. I mean, the better I am, the better husband I am, the better I am, a better son I am, better brother I am, a better coach I am. I can't give you the best me if I'm not the best me. And this is what is very, very important. So there's two quotes that I love. My mood is your mood. So your mood is your kid's mood. Your mood is your partner's mood. Your mood is what you protract outwards, okay? And the next is a comment, actually my Megan, who's in the group, one of our ambassadors, actually said to me, she said, a rising tide lifts every ship. So I want you to imagine that you're the tide and a higher version of you, a higher level of you actually impacts everyone around you positively, okay? Let that really, really sink in. So now I want you to make sure your definition of being selfish is actually not moving your health forward. You being selfish is putting you to the bottom of the ladder because nobody else can benefit if you're always at the bottom. Whereas if your self-worth, your self-respect, your self-care, your health all starts to improve, then there is no downside. And now this obviously doesn't mean that nothing else comes before you. Like, we live in a real world. We have to take priorities and move them above us in the moment. But we're not looking for all or nothing anymore. We're not looking for nobody else matters, nobody else cares, it's only you. But we're also not looking for you don't matter, everybody else matters. We're looking to bridge the gap, and what we're going to be going through a lot this week is about pivotal, directional progress. Because sometimes you can put more self-care into you than other times, but we still always want there to be an essence of your self-care. And thank you again in the chat there, Gemma, Amanda, Megan, Kerry, Stacey, so many me's. Amazing, everybody. Thank you so much. So automatically, I now want you to recognize you matter. You matter if your why matters. And I'm presuming your why matters because you're here in this group. You want to elevate and change your health, your relationship with food. You want to change all of this. So by default, The only way to change it is if you change your opinion of what's important, and that starts with you, okay? And I want you to go all in on this better you, okay? A lot of you have messaged me directly or commented below on the morning challenge that the problem is I'm all or nothing, all or nothing. I can't tell you enough how much I am all or nothing too, okay? The key thing is I'm still all in on myself. I'm still all in on my coaching. I'm all in on this group. I'm all in on every single client that I work with. The difference is I now have deleted the nothing. So rather than it being a pendulum swinging both ways, I've now developed the emotional behaviors, the emotional responses, so that we're all in, but we come back to center. And this is so, so important. And all of this collectively over this week is going to enable you to be able to not go to the nothing. And it's one, based around expectations. Two, it's about knowing how to emotionally respond in certain situations. But three, it's making sure we're actually giving our attention to the right thing. So give me a hand up, like I can't see you, but just raise your hand up, even not in your mind. If you have thought the determining success of fat loss is just what the scale says, and then when you stand on the scale and it says it's gone up by a pound, you go, well, fuck it then. Fuck it, I'm not doing it. And then you quit, and then you stop. You go, well, what's the point? I'll start again Monday. Okay? Probably most of you. And if you haven't agreed that that's you, you're probably, maybe kidding yourself, because I bet it's been there. My life used to revolve around the scale. I used to get weighed multiple times a day and try and manipulate it in any possible way I could. So what we want to do is, again, what we're going to be going through on this is have done this. Sure, have you been spying on me? Promise not, but I have probably been in we've had literally the same thoughts a lot of the time. Definitely me, Megan, my life until started working together, absolutely. So what we want to do is change what the definition of change what the definition of success looks like. Because we might think the scale gives us a boost, but what if you get weighed once a week? What if you get weighed every day? What if you don't get weighed because you want to develop that relationship with the scale by not having to go on it? So our boost by the scale is being determined by a number that doesn't account for a dozen things that isn't even related to body fat. I have a bottle of water here. If I have a little sip of it, the scale might go up. The scale doesn't tell me that it's water. And even these fancy scales that tell you how much is water or how much is body fat, they are highly inaccurate, okay, which we'll get into down the week. But also as well, I'm nervous. I've got some pent-up energy right now. So my cortisol levels, my stress levels are a little bit higher in preparation for this tonight. Now, cortisol, my stress hormone, also increases my weight. But the scale doesn't say that. And so many of you have got stressful situations. You've got shift patterns, you've got kids, you've got everything, life going on. You might have a bad night's sleep. Who doesn't have a bad night's sleep? I have a bad night's sleep. I've got more water retention, I've got more stress in me, but the scale doesn't say that. And this is why now we don't want to just simply put, and I wanted to really start with this, we don't just want to put the success of what the scale says as a determining factor of progress. Because actually, once we start to pinpoint and align what success and progress looks like, we can have like 10, 20, 100 boosts a day. Because you simply, let's say, start the day with a glass of water. Oh, that was really good. Well done. Positive me. Go me. Great. Move forward to the next thing. Oh, what am I having for my breakfast today? Or what am I having for my lunch? Clarity builds confidence. And this is what we're going to be shaping into a lot. Lisa, stepping on the scale is stressful in itself. Absolutely. Stress, anticipation of future pain. That's basically what it is. So we're anticipating it to be a negative, which then is going to reinforce this self-belief that, see, I knew I wouldn't do it. See, I knew I'd done bad. See, I can't do it again. See, I might as well give up. And we're repeating the same pattern. And the problem is we're going to repeat the pattern until we learn the lessons. And this week we are learning the lessons. So, now we've gone into the scale. First and foremost, what I next want to do is talk about the essence of fat loss, fat gain. We're all here to lose body fat, okay? Now, the number one factor for fat loss, fat gain, okay, you probably all heard this, hopefully. If you haven't, even better news, is calories in versus calories out, okay? So if you've heard that before, calorie deficit, just put yes. Put a yes in the comments if you've heard about a calorie deficit before. And just in case you do need that clarity on that, a calorie deficit is basically we all have a certain amount of calories that we can consume on an average day. That would mean our body fat stays the same. Okay, yes, lots of yeses in the chat. Excellent, amazing ladies, thank you so much, brilliant. So a calorie deficit is when we consume fewer calories than what our body burns each day through food, through fluid, okay? So it's how much we are in a deficit by that determines then over time how much body fat we then use as energy because there's no calories left over. Okay, so maintenance calories is when we consume the same amount of food and fluids, calories, as our body expends. A calorie deficit is when we have less than we expend, so then we use our body fat as energy. A calorie surplus is when we consume more calories through food and fluid than our body expends. Now this is very simple, okay? Black and white, we probably all know that. However, this is the big caveat. The whole notion of just move more, eat less is like, cheers, great, I never thought that. This is where it becomes really complex. It's how we apply it to your life, okay? And lots of people in your comments this morning and privately messaging me have been going, look, I can start really great, then I lose motivation, and then I just say, oh, I've ruined it again. And this is now where we want to talk about expectations, because if we know it's calories in versus calories out, let's say, just for simple maths, 2,000 calories, okay, 2,000 calories a day equals maintenance. So 1,500 calories a day, so a 500 calorie deficit, okay, over the course of a week. So on average, 500 calories a day deficit every day over a week, 3,500 calories, right? So 500 multiplies by 7 days, 3,500 calories for the week, okay? So 3,500 calories equates to 1 pound of pure body fat. That's how many calories are in 1 pound of body fat. Now the scale might say more, it might say less because there's water weight, food volume, all these different things. But if we're talking pure body fat, 3,500 calories. So this is where it gets really cool. If maintenance is 2,000, your deficit is 1,500, and let's say for example you had 1,500 for a whole week, and you had 1,500 calories, and I want you to imagine the most nutritious day that you could possibly ever have in your life. You're having fresh fish, you're having like really lean chicken, you're having like your super greens, and you're having your broccoli, and you're having your kale, and all this sort of like, superfood. There's no such thing as a superfood, by the way. There's a more nutritious food and a less nutritious food, but not superfood, okay? However, if you had 1,500 calories a day for a week, you would lose 1 pound of body fat. Right? Hopefully everybody's with me on that so far. If you're not, drop it in the chat, just say unsure and I'll reiterate it. So, if having 1,500 calories from just nutritious food every day equal to 1 pound of body fat, great. So, how many pounds of body fat, or would you lose body fat, if you had 1,500 calories per day for a week of just chocolate buttons or whatever chocolate you would like to insert? So 1 week, all you eat is vegetables and lean protein, 1,500 calories a day. The second week, you have 1,500 calories again, and you only have chocolate, Cadbury's chocolate, okay? Which week, and in the chat, are you gonna lose more body fat with? Is 1 week gonna be greater for body fat? We're talking purely body fat here, purely body fat. Is 1 week going to be better for body fat, or is it going to be the same? Are you going to lose the same amount? Kerry, the same. Anybody else? Now, some of you might be like looking at this going, yeah, but James, you can't just do that. You're going to... We're going to go into that. Because Lisa, both, 100%. Megan, the same, absolutely. Because actually, if you were to have the same amount of calories, irrespective of the food that you consume, it creates the same outcome. Now, obviously, we don't just want to have lean protein and vegetables like every day, all day, forever, because whilst that sounds really good, how many times have you been able to stick with that for all of your life? Zero. Because we wouldn't be having this conversation now. So we've got to recognize that that isn't the solution, but neither also, obviously, goes without saying, just eating chocolate buttons or pizza or alcohol or whatever, insert bread, whatever it is that your really high tasting foods are. But it doesn't mean that we can't merge the two. Very, very, very important. Because Jolene, a deficit is a deficit, 100%. So this is now where we want to revolve your deficit around your life, taking into account your emotional health. Okay? So if I've had a really long, stressful day and I actually go, oh, do you know what? I'm really looking forward to a caramel tonight. Like that might, for me, be like the thing I can't wait for. Rather than me going, yeah, but I want a caramel, but I can't have a caramel because I'm trying to be good and I'm trying to avoid it. No, I'm not going to have it. And then suddenly my stress is up, my emotions are higher. And now all I'm going to do is, if you've been on Slimming World in the past, all I'm now going to do is just eat more ham or eat boiled eggs or eat more pasta to scratch the itch of what I actually really want. Okay? Now, some of you might be laughing, some of you might be, kind of relating to that. And I've done all the different diets as well. I mean, I came from an eating disorder. I was weighed and taken to Slimming World as a like not even a teenager. Like that was my upbringing, as well as probably many of you too. And I remember, this is a true story. Who remembers, like, especially if you're a 90s or 80s kid, whatever it is. So I'm an 80s kid. The Special K cereal bars. Okay, this is a true story. Special K cereal bars, right? I love chocolate. I still love chocolate. I always have done, always will. And I remember I had a coach and I was in Kerry, yeah, very relatable, Slimming World free food. That's it. There's no such thing as a free food, as we know now. But I would love a Cadbury's caramel, right? I had a big sweet tooth, as I mentioned. And I remember I had this coach and I was like, okay, cool, I want to be really fit, I want to do this, I want to do that. Right, okay, cool, let's talk about your diet. And she said, yeah, you can't have chocolate anymore. I was like, okay, fine, I'll have the willpower. I won't have any more chocolate. Anyway, I lasted a few days, I had a huge binge, and I was having thousands of calories of chocolate all the weekend, the takeaways, the alcohol, everything. Went to see her next week and she was like, okay. She was like, you know what you can have though? Here's an idea. Do you like snack bars and things like that? I was like, I don't know, maybe. She went, Special K bars, you can have those. I was like, all right, okay. And I was like, and how many of these can I have? And she's like, you can have as many as you want. I was like, okay, brilliant, cool, let me have a look. Anyway, after that session, I drove to Asda and I was like, finally. Because they had the Special K bars that were the little chocolate chip ones. Eh? Anybody remember those? The Special K box of 6, 90 calories, if you remember those. I just thought about the Scran Bran nightmares. Slimming World, absolutely, 100%. Just Stacey, I had the same conversation at work, told me to give up this and that. And I said then about diet and losing weight becomes a chore and depressing. Stacey, absolutely, 100%. But I bought a box of 6, okay? I ate all 6 in the car before I even went into the house. I just put the wrappers under my seat like it never happened, went in, it scratched, great, I've had 6 Special K bars. All I actually wanted was a caramel, but these 6 Special K bars were good for me. Caramel was bad, Special K was good. Right, okay. But if we're looking at the context of fat loss, a caramel is approximately 240 calories for just a single bar. 6 Special K bars, 540 calories. So instantly what's better for my fat loss, and what's better for my relationship with food, and what's better for my emotional response. Eating 6 Special K bars or 1 caramel. Now, when you say it like that, it's a no-brainer, but the problem is when we're in the moment and when we are believing these ridiculous things about food and nutrition and health. The problem is I went from 6 bars to 12 bars to 18 bars, and I was having 18 Special K bars, not as a meal, just as a snack in my car when I was getting home from work, to try and curb the urge to have a caramel. So you can start to see how warped this is, and we've all had our own experiences of this, magnitude, this degree of our own relationship with food, and I've got hundreds of different examples like this. But it was only when I started to really understand and go through studying and nutrition and things in a lot deeper knowledge that actually I had a caramel every day for 2 years. This is no exaggeration, I had a caramel every day for 2 years, because suddenly I realized just how much I can have a caramel in my life, or insert a bun or a slice of bread or potato or glass of wine or whatever this food is that we think about more than ever when we're trying to lose weight. What we now want to be able to do is recognize that these foods can form as a perfectly healthy part of our diet and our relationship with food. And what I always work through with people is 2 levels of food freedom, okay? The first one is recognizing there is nothing's off the menu. The first level of food freedom is nothing is off the menu, okay? Because even Faye in the comments there, thank you so much. I try to allow myself a treat within reason. But what we want to think about is a food isn't necessarily a treat. Because what we want to be able to do is just see food as actual context of it, is food is to be enjoyed. All food is to be enjoyed. So if you had lunch today, if you've had dinner this evening, I hope you felt that meal was just as tasty as any treat. Because we can sometimes have this association as treat as a bad food or a non-diet food, or as a lot of people, and I used to say, it's fattening foods. Whereas actually, just because something has less nutrient density, so a caramel isn't as nutritious as an apple, totally get that, okay? We all know that. However, for my emotional health, for my social health, for my mental health, that caramel, that glass of wine with my wife, enjoying a dessert together so I'm not stressing over the menu, this is now where health becomes multifaceted. So it's not just about your physical weight loss, it's about your social health. So if you've got a partner, or if you've got kids, and your kids say, oh, I really want to go to McDonald's, and you're going, like, ugh, and you're just anxious and worried because you're going to ruin it. Well, now we know that actually it's about calories in, calories out, and there's no such thing as a good or a bad food. Victoria, do you know what? I mean, Victoria, maybe yourself at the moment, only because of your intolerances, but maybe have that little bit of chocolate. But me too, trust me, I have 62 meetings this week in my diary, and honestly, I talk about chocolate in most of them, or takeaways, or alcohol. And considering that I used to have real issues with this, it just shows you how much your relationship with food and your confidence around food really can change. Yeah, and Lisa in the chat there, thank you so much. Because what we want to recognize is just because you can say no food is off limits, this is now level 2. So just because you can have anything doesn't mean that we then should just eat everything. And this is what's important, because let's now go to an apple. We don't typically find ourselves having a bag of apples a day just because we can. We might have one, or we might have one piece of fruit, or whatever it is. And a big part is obviously one, yes, apples don't taste as good as caramels or biscuits. However, it comes back from our relationship with how we perceive this food. And because we at the moment have the emotional outlet that I feel sad, I feel stressed, I feel unhappy, or I've got whatever emotion, we associate that at the moment with, I need to eat something, or even boredom. Who's been like sat there at work, typing on the keys and just going, what's behind the cupboard? And we just go and eat. Because at the moment, and this is a big thing, so again, over the week, we're going to really expand and evolve on this, because Just because at the moment you can't stop at 1 or 2 doesn't mean that that can't change, okay? Your beliefs right now don't have to define your future. Don't get me wrong, it comes with work, it comes with repetition, just like everything else, because your habits right now, your relationship with food right now, has probably taken decades to get there. You know, you've got Rosemary in the chat here, you've got Megan in the chat, you've got Kath in the chat. These are ladies that I worked with for a prolonged period of time. I myself have really come full circle with this. It doesn't mean that I don't overeat chocolate ever. It doesn't mean that I don't overeat, full stop. But what I now don't need to do is go from this to this. Instead, I can go from this to this by improving my emotional responses. So my emotions isn't just triggered towards, say, chocolate or insert what food. So now I reduce my emotional response amount that I consume. And now it's also the frequency, and just simply changing your awareness and knowledge about food really does help, especially now because we know the essence of fat loss. Because also the reason why you probably want the whole bag of like cookies or whatever it is because you think that you shouldn't have one tomorrow or the next day or the day after. But if I said to you, okay, Lisa, I want you to have a bag of crisps or a chocolate bar every single day for the rest of this year, without fail, you probably actually instinctively go, oh, I kind of don't want that though. And this is now the emotion we want to start listening to, because it's our emotional elephant that comes charging through that goes, oh, I just want it now. Because we just think about the immediate moment of what we want, what we must have, right? Whereas actually, if we start to think about our rational brain, we probably don't actually want a chocolate bar or a bag of crisps or 5 bags of crisps or a takeaway every single night. So this is how, again, we can really start to improve it, because now I don't have chocolate every night. I probably have it about 3-4 nights. But in comparison to where I was, having thousands of calories, really focused around guilt and sabotage, to just enjoying a chocolate bar whenever I really want it, rather than having it because I need it. Again, this is now how we progress through those levels of food freedom. So, just looking through the comments here. Thank you so much, everybody. Yep, Kerry, absolutely. Megan used to border me every evening, 100%, because it's habit. And we're going to go into this, how we can really change it, team. Kate, boredom definitely equals food for me a lot of the time, 100%. Boredom means prepping and cooking rather than grabbing the cupboard crap, absolutely. Rosemary, I used to believe that I couldn't trust myself around certain foods, 100%. I used to be the same, around food, alcohol, all sorts. Kath used to secret eat. Stacey, my notes there. Stacey, I did a total food replacement diet last summer. Yes, it was a good diet, but it was packed with foods like soups, shakes, bars. That's all I was allowed to eat. I lost 2 stone in 6 weeks, which was fantastic. Once I started eating actual food, I put it back on. Absolutely, but I was struggling by cutting out bread, pasta, chocolate, everything. It's like reprogramming your mindset. 100% it is. And what I want you to almost imagine is everything that you've thought about food, dieting, tear it up. Tear it up, throw it in the bin. We're starting afresh. There's no such thing as a good or bad food. Context is everything. Because I can have a glass. Yesterday, I enjoyed a bottle of wine with my wife. It was her, my father-in-law's birthday, who passed away. And also I found out yesterday I need hearing aids. And we went out for a Sunday roast dinner and I had roast beef. So we had a nice bottle of wine together. Okay, we really shared and cherished that day. Okay, for lots of different reasons. Now, if after this live tonight I go, oh, do you know what? It's been a really long day. I just need a bottle of wine. Like, which one's a healthier response to the wine? The third one, creating what I call a magic moment, time together, something that's really something to cherish and look forward to, versus, oh, it's been a long day, equals wine. I guarantee I'm going to have lots of long days. I can't guarantee just how many precious moments I'm going to have with my wife, because life happens. We don't always have a date day, for example's sake. So again, starting to recognize outcome is still drinking a bottle of wine, but it's the reason behind drinking the wine that becomes very important, okay? So let's now talk a little bit about expectations, because we've been going through expectations in terms of what you want to, focus on. So instantly, I want you to just spend like 30 seconds now, and I want you to do this after this, in a bit more detail, but for tonight and the time, because I want to make sure that we're going through a lot of things, and I want to finish on some real, very pertinent tips that you can take away and run with straight away. But what foods, and just drop them in the chat, would you love to be able to lose as much weight as you want for as long as you want? What foods would you have? Pop them in the chat. What kind of foods? And there's just whatever you genuinely feel that you would actually, if you could lose all the weight in the world that you wanted eating these foods, oh gosh, it would be amazing. Like, pop them in the chat. What kind of foods? So for me, it's pizza, it's red wine and beer, if I'm honest, and it's chocolate. And ready meals. Oh gosh, definitely ready meals. Not because I love the taste of ready meals, but because I work a lot and I need convenience, which we're going to get into tomorrow. Okay, so here we are. Lisa, Chinese takeaway. Good choice. Victoria, pasta. Lovely. Faye, crisp. Tina, chocolate, pasta, bread, pizza. Chinese, Kim, Shan, pasta, chocolate, sweets. Kerry, roast dinners. Oh, absolutely. Stacey, chocolate, definitely. Pasta, cheese. Cake, chocolate, biscuits. Jolene, cake, pasta, amazing. All delicious choices. What's unhealthy about any of that? Genuinely, what's unhealthy about any of that? Context is everything. And don't say, oh, sugar's bad for you. Sugar is not bad for you. Overconsumption of anything can become detrimental to your health. But let's not forget, if we're in a calorie deficit, and even if that's sugar, your body is using those calories as energy. There is no sugar left to, spike insulin levels and turn into fat. If you have an insulin response from carbohydrates or sugar, it's because your body is meant to have an insulin response. And that's the fact. We don't need to be afraid of insulin responses unless you are type 1 diabetic, which then is a very controlled environment. And if you are type 2 diabetic, depending on how long you've been diabetic, we can actually go into remission and reverse that with fat loss. But even if you are diabetic, type 2 especially, you can still have a high carb diet. We just want to make sure you're in your calorie deficit. And this doesn't even need to be daily, everybody. You can be in a calorie deficit over a week. And let's say one day you're in a surplus, but over the week you're in a deficit, then you're still losing body fat. We don't also need to see this deficit as a regimented daily goal. You can look at it over the week. You can look at it over a month. You can look at it over 6 months. And this is what's really important, again, coming back to expectations, because now it's not a pass-fail day. Because as I'm sure you can all attest for as well, is days look different. I might wake up and I've got a super clear day, feeling super motivated, feeling super pumped. Those days are easy, right? Everybody can move forward when we're motivated. But what about the days where you feel really shit? What about the days where you just can't be arsed? What about the days where you forget to take your lunch you prepared? What about the days where you get home late, so then it's like, oh, damn it, what am I going to have? I haven't got time to cook. These are the days we want to bridge the gap, and we want to become directional. And tomorrow in nutrition, I'm talking about how you do that with your food. But this is now how starting to set realistic expectations based on the day you've got in front of you. Because if you suddenly are playing one day and all you've got is a pair of twos, we got to use those cards. We can't think about and distract our mind and going, oh, I'd be able to have a really good day if I had a good night's sleep. Or I'd be able to have a really good day if I didn't have kids. Or I'd be able to have a really good day if I had an active job. This is true, but it's not the reality of the situation. So we've got to look at what we've got within us and make it work, because then suddenly how you see a situation changes the situation. So let's say, for example, you didn't sleep well last night. Well, imagine you didn't sleep well for the next 50 nights. How would we still find a way to move forward with that? Because then again, what this does is it reduces the expectation that the environment, the setup needs to be perfect as well. Because instead, what we can now do is we can focus on what we can do in the moment rather than what we can't do, which only sets us up for failure. And by focusing on what we can do each and every single day, what it now enables us to do is find ways to win even when we're not motivated. Because now, rather than it being I need to be super good to have a super good day, actually what we can now do is we can make your worst level like your previous best level. Because now there's no such thing as a good or bad day. Even if you're stressed or feeling emotional, we can still factor in that bag of crisps or that weekend magic moment. Oh, do you know what? I'm really looking forward to a pizza together with the family. So I hope this is starting to align everything here. So I want you to imagine, and I haven't got too much to go into more tonight, team. I just want to do one more analogy. I love an analogy, okay? I do love an analogy. Before I go into that, I'm just going to have a little short drink. Bear with me. Thank you. And I hope this is making sense, team. Drop a yes if this is all helpful. If you've got any questions, if you've got any challenges, give me your challenges. I love the challenge. I need you to be able to buy into this and see it from your eyes rather than me just telling you this. In my opinion, this changed my life, and it's changed the lives of like hundreds, thousands of people that I've worked with over 17 years. But if this is helping, please do let me know, because honestly, this is just the foundations of what we're getting into this week. I need you to know actually what health and nutrition and fat loss can be before we then start going into the nitty gritty. So this is why tonight is so important. And great, thank you everybody, really appreciate it, thank you. And any questions, do let me know. So I want you to literally imagine if you closed your eyes, okay? If you close your eyes and you saw the biggest highway, like the longest road, imagine Route 66 kind of thing, it just goes on forever, right? I want you to imagine that road is your health, okay? That road is your health, okay? And along the way, the goal is to get as far down that road as humanly possible, okay? Now, that road, the road of health, isn't just your physical fat loss. It's a part of it, but you can only progress further down that road if your physical fat loss improves, but so does your emotional health improves, your mental health improves, your physical, as in your strength improves. That's how we then really progress down the road. Now, lots of time we've moved down this road, but the problem is we've fallen off the way, and then we've gone right back to where we've started because we only focused on one of them, perhaps, maybe a couple, but more often than not, we've only focused on the physical fat loss. How quickly can I drop weight? How quickly can I get it down? How quickly can I accelerate the road? But the problem is, the faster we try and force it, the slower we're going to get. So right now, I want you to all imagine that you're walking, that's us walking down the road, we're moving forward. Right now, tonight, you are moving forward, you're walking, okay? Which is great, it feels good. But I know you wanna walk, I want you now to think, how do I get into a bicycle, on a push bike? So I'm still moving forward, but I'm moving faster. And then we go from a bike, we go into a car. Then we go from a car and we go to an F1 race car. And we're now going really fast. And then the pinnacle is when we're just flying in a plane. Because actually, moving forward with your fat loss, moving forward with your health, isn't about doing more. It's actually about simplifying it. It's about focusing on less, but doing better. It's about listening to how you actually feel, rather than trying to, sweep it under the rug to ignore it. And this is what, again, we're going to be focusing on this week. We want to simplify to optimize. and simplifying your food rules, simplifying your thoughts about good and bad foods by just going, I am organized and set for the day, for the week, and again this week we're going to be going into it. But fundamentally, if you wanted to live on ready meals all day every day and still be super healthy, actually you probably could. You could certainly lose as much weight as you want. I have ready meals about 5 nights a week. I'm actually having a ready meal tonight when I get home. But isn't that unhealthy, James? That's processed. You shouldn't be having, I thought you were a nutritionist. I thought, like, that's bad. Context is everything. Because I actually don't go for the horrible tasting ones. I go for a really tasty one that's got 25 grams of protein in it. I go for one that's got vegetables. It's got a nice sauce. Because that actually, and this is kind of going into tomorrow a little bit, that for me tonight works perfectly, rather than me just getting a takeaway on the way home, going, oh gosh, it's been such a long day, let me have that bottle of wine and let me just get a takeaway and let me just get some chocolate. Instead, me getting a ready meal for tonight, which is already at home, waiting for me, which takes me 3.5 minutes, is the healthiest thing I can do tonight. Because I'm not going to stay up to cook for half an hour or an hour when my alarm goes at 4:15 in the morning. No chance. So that's why, again, we want to revolve what winning looks like around you. So anybody who says you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't do that, they are just simply projecting what their thoughts and beliefs are. But I'm telling you now, okay, we can revolve however this works totally around your life, okay? I've got a client who works in central London. He owns 3 dessert shops. He literally eats ice cream every day as his job. He's lost over 30 pounds. He now just doesn't finish the tub because he understands that the ice cream isn't bad for him. It's an integral part of his life. It's literally his career. So now we can bridge this gap, because health for me is different to health to you, is different to health for the person at the side of you. But we must revolve it around your life rather than your life being revolved around a diet. So I hope this has helped. And Shan, my challenge is when patients bring huge tubs of boxes, chocolates, sweets, biscuits, crisps, etc. as a gift, I have to have one every time I walk past them. I need to learn boundaries. I love that word, I have to. Shan, what would happen if you didn't have one every time you walked past them? What would happen? Your own anxiousness about what they will think about you is what happens. But if you remember that it's important not to put your health backwards for the instant, very short time frame of what their opinion is, because basically what you're doing now is you're putting their very short opinion of you ahead of your own health. Suddenly now we can start to see a little bit different. You don't have to have it. You can enjoy it, absolutely. But this whole notion of like, well, I've got to have it, otherwise it's been rude. Actually, you're being rude to yourself. You're being rude to yourself if you are force feeding foods to yourself based on someone else's kindness, let's say. Actually, meet their kindness with savouring it later on, taking it home, sharing it with the staff, giving it to somebody else entirely. Because what we want to do is we want to now recognise actually it's selfless to put your health first. Because actually you can give so much more by listening to what is so important for you. How do you get a job eating ice cream? Well, I mean, to be fair, they've worked pretty hard to be able to do it, but I know it'd be cool, wouldn't it? So, here's what I want us to do, okay? I want you to initially just focus on what I call your might as well calories. And I'm going to finish on this, okay? I'm going to condense everything else I wanted to go through into tomorrow. So I just need 5 more minutes of your time, which I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, team. I used to work with a lady, and amazing, she did amazing, fantastic results. And we started to work together, and she went, James, I've got a problem now. I said, okay, cool, talk to me about it. She went, every week I go for a curry. I was like, okay. I was like, to the same curry house? She was like, yeah. I was like, takeaway, I sit in. She was like, no, we sit in. I was like, this must be one like incredible curry house. She's like, honestly, it's amazing. I go with my partner or my sister or my friends, okay? But I go every week. It's so good. I was like, cool, great, amazing, enjoy it. We had a call the next week. I was like, how was the curry? She's like, oh, James, it was so good, but I've ruined everything. I was like, okay, cool. Tell me, what did you ruin? And she went, well, I ate the food, and then we sat there, we chatting, and just sat at the table. Anyway, there's some chips. And I just go, well, there's some chips there, so might as well have a couple. And then, I might as well have a couple more. And then she just kept picking at chips. James just kept picking at chips. Anyway, before I know it, I've eaten all the chips, and I'm feeling really bloated and really stuffed. And I'm like, oh, I didn't eat those chips. But suddenly now, might as well eat the naan then. I've eaten the chips, I'm already stuffed, I might as well finish off the naan then. So I ate the naan, James. And then the waiter came round and was like, ladies, would you like to finish off with a scoop of ice cream? And we just went, yeah, go on then, might as well. So we finished off in an ice cream. Now, how easy is that to happen, okay? And we worked out, we really broke it down, that was approximately 2,000 calories past fullness. 2,000 calories past fullness of might as well. Now, this is what's so alarming. It's so easy to do that in one moment, okay? Way more than that. But let's even, just for funsies, say that that doesn't happen in one moment, that happens throughout the week, okay? So those 2,000 calories of that one moment spread across 7 days is only 285 calories a day, okay, from my recollection. 285 calories a day, I just might as well eat that. I might as well finish off the kids' plate. I might as well just have that last potato. I might as well just finish off the pasta. I might as well just, do you know what, I'll get a piece of fruit then. I'll get a piece of fruit. I'm bored, but it's better than toast. I'll just get a piece of fruit. How easy is it just to go, I might as well? Because what we're now wanting to really recognize are these might as well calories add up so much. Because the equivalency of 2,000 calories a week, which can easily happen in one sitting, which can easily go from 3 biscuits to, well, I might as well just finish the packet then. Because we've had the expectations of no biscuits in the first place. Like, we want to start living in the world that we enjoy. But just because we have a couple doesn't mean we might as well have to finish them. Because also, 2-3 biscuits feels really good. A packet feels really like bloating. And so this is what's really important as well. Besides reducing these might as well calories, I also want you to think, how do I want to feel when I finish my meal? How do I want to feel when my head hits the pillow? Do I want to go, oh, I just need to lay like this because I'm really uncomfortable? Or do I want to go to bed going, oh, I feel really good. I don't feel bloated and gross. Like, oh, I feel really good about that. I feel really proud about that. And then now, this is where now we don't need to depend on motivation, because we can just think, do I want to feel stuffed? No, I don't. I actually want to feel quite comfortable. So now this helps again reduce that emotional outlet with foods, because we're now focusing on a positive finish with how we want to feel rather than with how we feel right now. So the might as well calories, which again, 285 calories can just be like, you know, extra vegetables that are left over and a banana. It's still going to account to the same amount of calories, even if it's just a chocolate bar. But the thing is, this 285 calories, which more often than not is like triple per day, okay? My experience is about triple per day with people that I work with. So instantly, by reducing even just 285 calories a day, if we now play the long game, if we play the long road that we're talking about, 208 calories, okay? 285 calories a day. And someone just do simple maths for me. What's 285 times 365? 285 times 365 is 104,000 calories over a year. Now in the moment we go, what's one more? What's one more? What's one more? and we repeat this. But just 285 calories of might as well equates to 104,000 over the year. Now, if we divide that by 1 pound of body fat, that's just under 30 pounds of body fat. 30 pounds of body fat over a year, and we haven't changed a single thing that you have eaten. All we've done is reduce your calorie intake by 285 calories a day. That is it. And the likelihood is there's way more might as well calories in your diet from portion size, which we're going to go into tomorrow as well, how to set up our eating environment in a really healthy way. We've got portion size, we've got might as well moments, and we've got how do I want to feel when I finish this meal. So we're not even tracking or counting calories. We're just now starting to go on, actually I feel comfortably full, which is what we're going to go into tomorrow. But recognizing actually the might as well moments add up. Instantly you can lose. In fact, actually, this is no word of a lie. My clients typically lose their very first stone purely on losing might as well calories. And you might say, well, how does that create my deficit? Well, put it this way, right? If you're, let's say, hovering around the same weight all the time, and then suddenly we just start to reduce your might as well calories, you've just created a calorie deficit. And this is what people and diets and coaches out there don't tell you, because it doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be painful. It can be very simple and revolve around your life. We just need to stop screwing stick expectations. Team, thank you so much. Please drop your comments in there. Let me know what questions you've got to follow up. Tomorrow is a really very important day around nutrition. We're going to take these fundamentals and we're going to blow them up into how we can make it work for nutrition for you, so you can nourish, flourish. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know it's been an hour. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.